Hi, Sarah here, and in this video I'm going to tell you a little bit more about why I began Mojo Mingle. So it was back in December of 2016 when I felt utterly drained from using online apps as a way to try and meet people. I'd initially thought they were such a great idea because as someone who is shy, apps allowed me to start conversations with guys online who I'd never actually approached in real life. Now, as someone who has always been quite proactive, I was determined to find myself a partner, so I spent quite a lot of time creating interesting bios and choosing photos to give people a sense of who I was and what I got up to. Back then, I had managed to get quite a decent number of matches, and I took my time to begin conversations with those people. The trouble was that I had no strategy. While I became impatient waiting for responses from people I'd matched with, I continued swiping, and therefore I'd have more people to start conversations with. I felt overwhelmed. I had too many conversations and none of them were receiving my undivided attention. So I quit. Then I started again with a new game plan to get one match and focus my attention on that conversation. I often became impatient waiting for a reply, and if the conversation wasn't flowing, I quickly lost interest. I interpreted a lack of reply as a lack of interest and would simply move on. Again, this strategy wasn't really working for me. I was using apps in the hope of finding connection, but ultimately I was wasting hours of my precious time that I'd much rather be using in other ways. For example, going to the movies, riding my bike, gardening, reading a book, catching up with friends, visiting family. You get the picture. I became uninspired and drained by the apps I was using. When I confessed to my friend that I'd been trying to find connections online, I discovered that she was actually experiencing similar frustrations. The more people I spoke to about dating apps and even social media platforms in general, the more I learned that people are not feeling connected through the internet, which is designed to connect us. In fact, there's even studies that show certain online platforms make people unhappy, especially when their posts aren't getting enough likes or comments. I'd often reminisce with my friend at how easy it is to connect with people while traveling. It became obvious to me that what I needed to do was simply get off the internet and out into the real world and get involved in things that interest me. And you know what? It worked. With this idea in mind, I created a social group or a community now known as Mojo Mingle. Now, I have a background in healthcare, as you know, so I have a very sharp sense of ethical boundaries when it comes to being a single person hosting singles events. It was actually part of the old terms and conditions that a member of our community was not allowed to date a host. So while I met many amazing people who attended events, I wasn't going to cross that professional line. Then one day, a member who had been to a couple of events mentioned that he'd seen me playing netball. And I told him how embarrassed I was because for that game that he saw me play, they'd actually stuck me in as goal shooter, and I'm pretty sure that I had a succession of air balls at the very same time that he had seen me playing netball. But we had good banter and he had mentioned catching up. I had to inform him about the terms and conditions, that I don't date members, and within a few days he actually cancelled his membership. So of course, we went on a date after that. The take-home message here is that the beginning was quite organic. We were familiar with each other because he'd attended a couple of events, and then we also had an interest that we shared. Turns out we also had a mutual friend in common. Now, while the relationship didn't last much longer than 2 months, it felt so good to meet someone through sharing experiences and having things in common. If you think back to a time before the internet, it was commonplace for people to meet at work, through sporting clubs, at university, etc. And this is the same type of situation for simply making new friends as well as for meeting a potential partner. For me, attraction doesn't always happen instantly, and genuine connections take time to grow. This is why Mojo Mingle encourages community involvement. That is, coming out and being social with us on more than one occasion so that you can build on the connections that you make. Whether you're looking for someone to date or to make new friends, keep in mind that good things do take time. This is why Mojo Mingle offers different plans. There's monthly plans and year-long plans so that you can come out and be social with us for as long as you want to. Now, I'm a bit of a nerd and a big fan of providing lots of details, so please take your time to stalk the Mojo Mingle website to see what we get up to, what's on offer, and all of the social activities that we've got coming up that you could come along and join us for. When you're ready to join, simply click the Get Started button, which you'll find around the website up in the top right-hand corner, and you'll also see it linked below. Any other questions that you have, just drop me a comment below, and if my chatbot can't answer them, it'll send me a notification and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. See you soon.